Exploring the unknown and venturing into places off the beaten path has always held a fascination for adventurers and travelers alike. However, amidst the vast array of awe-inspiring destinations the world has to offer, there exists a collection of places that remain tantalizingly out of reach. These are the forbidden places, shrouded in mystery, secrecy, or danger, that beckon the curious yet deny them entry. From ancient enclaves with untold stories to sites of peril and intrigue, this compilation delves into the realms of the unattainable. Join us on a journey through some of the world's most enigmatic locations, from secluded islands to hidden mountain towns, and discover why they remain off-limits, captivating the imaginations of those who dare to wonder what lies within. Welcome to the world of forbidden places you're not allowed to visit. Number 10. Mezgorod, Russia. You may have heard of abandoned villages and places throughout the world that are restricted who may visit. What about a working one? Mezgorod in Bashkiria's southern Ural highlands is an unusual example. It has an estimated 16,000 people, yet it's entirely isolated from the rest of the world. It is believed to have been formed in 1979 and incorporated into a town in 1995. A number of top-secret Russian military initiatives are carried out there, in addition to a concealed base in the highlands. The residents are all Russian government employees or their families, thus it's been kept secret. According to what we know about the town, it's likely the place where Russia stored 73 nuclear weapons during the Cold War. It may be the location of the country's Dead Hand project, which can autonomously unleash a nuclear attack on the rest of the world. Less is known about the town, so suspicions abound that it's where the Russians hold extraterrestrial evidence and build the next generation of mass destruction weapons. Whatever the reality, it's not something regular people or tourists will be able to find out, because if you come too close without permission, you'll be confronted with a rifle barrel and told to leave. Number 9. North Sentinel Island, Bay of Bengal. Under Indian sovereignty, North Sentinel Island is part of the Andaman Islands in the Bay of Bengal. Travel to North Sentinel is prohibited to safeguard the island people who live there, known as the Sentinelese. This tribe is one of the few entirely isolated in the world. A series of tragic collisions with passing boats caused this decades ago. They now view outsiders' visits to the island as hostile and behave accordingly. The islanders murdered 2 fishermen who were trapped on a beach in 2006 and an American missionary who tried to contact them in 2018. To prevent this, the Indian Navy patrols a 5-mile exclusion zone surrounding the island so that the Sentinelese can live in peace without the risk of being interrupted by uninvited visitors. Number 8. Pravsika Brana, Czech Republic. In Bohemian Switzerland, a region in northern Czech Republic, the Pravsika Brana is a beautiful natural sandstone arch that spans 87 feet. It was previously a significant tourist attraction in the region, with people going miles to walk over the arch. However, the more people visited, the faster the arch began to decay, and there was a big fear that it might collapse one day. Not only would the country lose a monument, but it would also risk a humanitarian disaster. Therefore, in 1982, everyone was forbidden from stepping across it and restricted to see it from afar. There has been a considerable decrease in the rate of erosion since the new rules were put in place. Even without tourists, it's deteriorating. It will collapse at some point, but the ban has delayed that point. Number 7. Poveglia, Italy. The Venetian Lagoon is an enclosed bay of the Adriatic Sea with a number of protected islands, including Venice. The city was inhabited about 2,500 years ago and is built on 118 tiny islands, connected by over 400 bridges. The neighboring islands have supported the center. Poveglia is abandoned and restricted for its history, not its current activities. In the face of battle, the residents evacuated in 1379, leaving it uninhabited for over 400 years. Venetian officials, however, recognized it as the ideal place to set up a quarantine facility in 1776. The city was a tourist and trading center, but there were rising concerns of people bringing diseases like the plague, so anyone with signs had to evacuate. After almost a century, the buildings were repurposed into a psychiatric institution in 1922 and abandoned in 1968. Poveglia has recently become known as the most haunted place on Earth as a result of these two usage, which caused countless people to die from sickness and cruelty. The biggest hazard is past illnesses in the soil. Therefore, anybody who steps foot there faces severe fines to prevent them from resurfacing and contaminating the modern-day city. Number 6. Heard Island, Australia. Australia governs Heard Island, one of the world's most isolated regions, 2,500 miles southwest of Perth, and 2,600 miles southeast of South Africa in the Indian Ocean. You'll find Australia's only two active volcanoes on Heard Island and the McDonald Islands. The highest peak in Australia is Marson Peak at 9,006 feet. The islands are home to a variety of distinct plant and animal species because to their location, which also covers them in 41 individual island rate glaciers. They're made of limestone and other rocks. This means they're vulnerable compared to other islands. Australia bans visitors because of this. Of all, this is such a distant place that there is virtually no chance that someone would reach Heard Island without a clear objective. Since the rules were in place, fewer ships have explored the islands in the past 50 years than the Moon. Number 5. Pluto's Gate, Turkey. Ancient nations had a number of rituals and traditions that may seem unusual to modern-day cultures. Yet many of their superstitions had legitimate reasons, and one remains dangerous to this day, known as Pluto's Gate. It was in the city of Hierapolis in modern-day Turkey. A Plutonian site was dedicated to Pluto, the underworld deity. A single person can fit in this little cave. Several prominent writers at the time described it as a dangerous place. Only the most committed could enter and leave safely. In Greek times, a building in front of the cave was dangerous, so much so that traders offered animals to visitors to put near the cave and watch how soon they died. It was recently revealed that Pluto's Gate has a series of fractures in the surrounding rock that allows significant amounts of carbon dioxide gas to flow through, which at first seems like folklore but really has scientific backing. Since it's invisible and denser than air, anyone who breathes properly would quickly suffer. Visitors aren't allowed to visit due to this threat. Number 4. Snake Island, Brazil. Of all the islands in the world that humans may visit, the one with the highest chance of mortality is Ilha de Camora Grande, 21 miles off São Paulo, Brazil. The Navy guards the area to prevent anyone from coming there for a valid purpose. More widely known as Snake Island, it's home to the golden lancehead viper, the world's deadliest snake. Lots of them. Rising sea levels cut the island off from the mainland thousands of years ago, trapping a small population of snakes. Instead of a large range of food supplies, they were now restricted to the birds that traveled by and stopped on the island. So they had to evolve to survive. The outcome was the development of stronger venom that, when bitten, causes a bird to die quickly and close by, ensuring that the snake can devour it. They are found in enormous quantities on the island, with an estimated one snake every 11 square feet. And if you went to the wooded parts, you'd see them everywhere. Fortunately, few people have been bitten by one, so no one knows how effective the venom is against humans. If the effects on birds are any indication, it would certainly kill before antivenom or therapy can be given. Number 3. Surtsey Island, Iceland. On November 14, 1963, a massive undersea volcanic eruption off Iceland's southern coast set off a series of events that would become one of the most remarkable scientific experiments ever. By the time the eruption ceased in June 1967, a new island chain had created. The largest, Surtsey, offered scientists amazing insight into how islands are formed. The other structures quickly wore away in the face of marine erosion, but Surtsey is still there to this day and is only expected to slip back under the waves in a century. Only approved researchers are allowed near it, and it has been a protected location for years. This is to prevent contamination on the island so researchers may study the development of new islands, not safety. The earliest living species on Surtsey were bacteria, fungus, and molds, which formed the ecology that could support more sophisticated life. It is believed that there are 89 kinds of birds and 335 invertebrates in the area, and this number is only expected to expand with time. Number 2. U.S. Niihau Island. The westernmost and seventh largest island in Hawaii is known as Niihau. It's 17.5 miles southwest of Kauai and covers an area of 69 square miles. Despite being a lush wetland region as lovely as the rest of Hawaii, you won't find any resorts there. The closest you can get is a half-day helicopter trip to see the island from a distance. That's because of an odd political arrangement that only people who are permitted by the island's owners are allowed to go there, and they're notoriously picky about who they invite. The Robinsons, Elizabeth Sinclair's descendants, managed the island after the Kingdom of Hawaii gave it to her for $10,000 in 1864 or $170,000 today. Only family, relatives, U.S. Navy troops, government officials, and occasional guests are allowed on the island. This has created a remote community. However, they have a long-standing relationship with the U.S. military. to the point that they maintain a small base on the island and periodically utilize it for specialized training. There are believed to be 170 residents on Nahal after building a farming-based economy. They're all virtually self-sufficient. Residents pay no rent and get free meat. All electricity is solar, and islanders ride horses instead of cars. Number 1. Australian Heart Reef. Reefs across the world are stunning, but Australia's is the most picturesque. The Heart Reef, part of the Great Barrier Reef, is somewhat separated and has a heart-shaped form by chance. It became a prominent part of a number of tourist promotions and drew a large number of snorkelers and divers who wanted to experience it for themselves. However, rising foot traffic destroyed the coral structure, and there were worries that the heart coral might be irrevocably ruined within a few years if things continued at the present rate. The decision was made to ban visitors, and today the only chance to photograph the lovely outcrop is via helicopter.